see my agent of chaos.
Defiance ends here, hatchling. The fires of passions, surprises. You do not have the strength.
Alright, so that was my Elemental Tornado on the Elementalist here. This is what I've been up to in POE 1. This is actually my 4th time making an Elemental Tornado build. Each time I've been able to make it a little bit differently, and each time I've been able to make it a little bit stronger. If you're not familiar with the skill, because I know a lot of people aren't aware of this skill, I definitely know a lot of people aren't using it. It looks like this. So it just summons one of 3 types of tornadoes when you cast it. Either a lightning, cold, or fire tornado, and you can have up to 3 of them active. Usually with this build, the hardest thing to do with it is scale it into the late game, especially on single target damage. The problem with that is about the only way to scale a skill like this is to go crit, and this spell has a very low base critical damage. Now this patch, what has changed with that is we have a new uber unique ring here. It's called the Unseen Hue. Not a whole lot of people are using this because it is very specific to prismatic skills only. But if you look at that last line, it says hits with prismatic skills always inflict brittle. Now if you're not familiar with brittle, what that does, it's a cold ailment that when it's applied to an enemy, it increases the base critical hit chance of the skill that that enemy is being hit with. So that will give you up to 6% base crit added on to the 5% that the tornado has on its own. So that makes it much easier to scale the damage into the late game, and you don't have to spend as much in other areas picking up that critical hit chance. Right now, even though we're a week into the league, if I check the price on this, you can see they're going for very cheap. They're still pricing them in chaos, even this late into the league, and even though it's an uber drop. If this build does pop off and it gets popular, you can expect these prices to go up, just because you can see there's only 67 of them here. So it may go up from what's shown here, but if it stays a niche build, not very popular, you can pick up your in-game ring here on the cheap. The other nice thing that this build was able to pick up this league is one of the Foulborn uniques. This is strong for most spell builds in general, but the Foulborn Toolborn here, specifically the one with the +4 to level of all cold spell skill gems, this will carry through into the late in-game until you can get like the best weapon. This is going to hold you almost the entire time. This is very cheap, also very easy to get deterministically on the tree. And if you're not familiar with Tornado of Elemental Turbulence, the thing about it is a bunch of different skills into one. So it's a prismatic skill. That means any plus levels of fire, cold, or lightning are going to affect it. Also physical, also duration, also AoE. So there's a lot of different options you can do for how you build this skill. So those are the two main things here. I have this kind of in-game helm here, but when you're putting it together, you actually only need this. I'll actually have a mapping showcase using just an honor helm here to show you that it is still pretty strong. Just pick up one of these, and then again, as we just talked about, because it is fire, cold, and lightning all in one, you can have any of those corruptions with any of those tags in that top line, and that'll give you an extra boost in power on the cheat. We can see if there's one of these specifically on the market. There probably is. Yeah, so you can see a corruption on one of these running about 15 chaos. The other gear here, you can just pick up mostly from the tree here. As far as like your gloves, these are actually crafted, but you don't need these right away. Chest piece and your starter boots. You can just, you do want to make sure they're armor ES, because we pick up a mastery that gives us more energy, shield, and armor from our body armor. And then the other uniques here, when you get into the in-game setup, Aegis Aurora, just very good, very defensive. Throw this on and have the build put together, and it'll solve a lot of your problems as far as the tankiness goes. Because we're ailment based with our tornado, we're just using Yoke of Suffering, a very strong item, also pretty cheap here, 25 chaos. Taming, also a very strong item, but also very cheap. Well, maybe not when I have my endgame one here, but let's take one down that's not perfectly rolled. There you go, so about 40 chaos. And then for the defensive option here, kind of as a middle ground until I go to the end game where I finally pick up a Mage Blood. If that happens this league, we'll see. I'm using Arn's Anguish. This causes endurance charges to give us a chance to triple damage. We'll have 5 of these charges, so that's 15% chance to do triple damage. So that's very strong. But because we don't want to lose those endurance charges on the defensive side of things, we are also using Ralakesh's Impatience, so we can keep the defensive strength and have those 5 endurance charges always active and not be conditional. You don't have to go this option. There's some other options if you want to change the build as well. But because I am using shield charge and can just shield charge around the map, I don't care too much about losing 10% movement speed. And because I'm doing Simulacrum for most of my farming here, you can see my voices down here in my inventory. I do just want to keep the build very defensive. As far as the passive tree, I can pull it up here. This isn't the final version. Your build will change as your gear changes, and it'll change a little bit here when I do have the final version with Mage Blood. But for now, this is what it looks like. I'm not going to show it too much in game here because I do have a Mobalytics build guide that you can go to here. And this is going to have all the different versions depending on where you're at in the build. So you can see here, this is one when you get right out of campaign. You have the level 60 snapshot here. This is when you're still on life and before you go crit. Then you have a level 80 snapshot here. This is again still life, and before you go crit, you're still taking elemental overload here. And then you have other snapshots here. As you start to go into crit, you pick up your first cluster jewel. And then you have here, if you're not wanting to go for chaos inoculation right away, I didn't go chaos inoculation until later, until about level 96, if I remember right. There's this. This is a way you can build it that still stays on energy, shield, and life, and crit. And then I have what I'm on right now. This is the in-game version, pre-Mage Blood. I will eventually add the Mage Blood version on here too, because that does increase the strength of build quite a bit. But this is the in-game Chaos Inoculation version, and I will go over that in-game real quick. But just know that you do have all the different setups, and it was very strong as my league starter. I don't have any other character because you can pick up the Foulborn Toolborn very early because Honor Home is cheap and it's easy to get corruption on it. These two items alone are just going to carry Tornado really far, and you shouldn't have any issues. The passive tree here on the endgame setup, I would say look at the Mobalytics if you have any questions. The one thing I will mention is this side over here. This is not necessarily required, and it's not required until you get into the endgame setup, but it is very strong, and it is the complicated part of this build. So if you're not familiar with Timeless Jewels, I think most of you probably are, but if you're not familiar with this specific one, this one adds a keystone here that removes all your attribute requirements, but it also removes all the bonuses from attributes. So usually on this, that's going to be about, you're at like 270 to 300 intelligence. That's like around minus 60% energy shield. The reason you do that, there's a few reasons. I have them in the Mobalytics, but the main thing here is with the way Tornado scales, there's 2 heralds we're running, and we just fill all of these up, these intelligence nodes, with these increased effect of herald buffs on us. This is actually, from what I've seen in my last time I built this in the last league and from POBing it, stronger than trying to stack power charges, at least specifically for Tornado. I don't know about other spell builds. So that is why we're taking that. It is also nice for our gearing because Tornado actually has this really annoying dex requirement on it. You can see 100 dex here at level 21. You usually do have to take one of these points here or allocate some of it in your suffixes on your gear. And so it's nice to remove that. And then the final reason is for this tech here, where around this keystone, which is normally Ghost Dance, you're able to get one of these radius jewels. And this Timeless Jewel, this specific one has very powerful effects on transforming these keystones. You can see on this one here, it just straight up gives me frenzy charges on hit and a bunch of crit multi. This specific one, I imagine if even just like 5 or 10 people try and build this build, will be hard to find. But in the Mobalytics, I do have a bunch of them listed that will work. That you can also allocate like this, where you're picking them up without having to path through them, because they're so strong, because you normally have to path through converted small passives that now grant nothing. The only other thing that I'm going to mention here in the video portion, before I say just look at the guide for the rest of it, is this cluster jewel over here. You do want to pick one of these up pretty early, specifically right here. You need this corrosive elements to get the build going on Elementalists, because you do have a bonus that you get from Mastermind of Discord, where you get an extra minus 25%. This is very consistent though, because again, with Tornado having all those skill gem tags, it is a cold skill, is a fire skill, is a lightning skill. So regardless of which element chooses, it always has a 25% chance to apply the exposure. So you'll have all 3 exposures on the targets. Hey guys, just wanted to jump in here. Something I caught in the editing process is I completely glossed over the graphs that this build uses. So there's 2 of them you can use. The first one here we're using isn't as important, but it's the Aegis Tool Graft. This is one that helps us on the defensive side of things. We're always applying exposure, and we're always getting this buff. If you pick up one that looks like this, that has increased skill effect duration, basically it's always going to be up for you, and it's not going to fall off unless, of course, it's taken the full damage off of its shield. The second one, and this is the more important one that you want to pick up because it's going to help you with your clear, especially early on at lower gear levels, is going to be the freezing tool graft. We are always freezing enemies from our tornadoes, so this is constantly going off. And this is another part of why the build works better this league, is because this helps a lot with your AoE clear that you can sometimes struggle with early on. And if you get one that has increased damage, something like this, you can also get, instead of the penetration down there, you can get one that has like plus levels, I think, a bunch of other stuff, just some form of stats to increase its damage. We are lowering elemental resists on enemies in our build, so even though these don't scale directly from our damage, lowering the enemy's elemental resists will make these stronger, and it will be a large part of your damage early on. Alright, and then I will go over the skills that I'm using here real quick. Just know that this will change as you're going between different versions of the build. And this is not 100% optimized here yet either. I've actually been kind of lazy with getting my links sorted. But it is a one-button build, so we do have the Tornado of Elemental Turbulence here. At the end game, I do have this supported with Elemental Penetration, increased critical damage, and you do have Inspiration here. You can check your POB, or I'll have some options in the Mobalytics if you're not using this specific helm and you're still using Honor Helm. There's some other things you can put in there too. Basically, just whatever gives you more damage on your tornado. Because we are Elementalists, we're of course using golems. You can see them being annoying and running around all over the place. Unfortunately, we can't disable them visually. But anyway, we're using just an enhance here to give us some extra quality on them. And then I haven't even bothered fixing my chest into anything more than a 5-link here. In the Mageblood version, this does change. You go to a 6-link, and then you put your auras in your chest here. And then you reduce their reservation cost. And then down here, we just have the utility, Molten Shell, cast when damage taken. Because you're so tanky and you do have armor and all this, and you're just running into packs, you can actually go ahead and level these up so that it is giving you the full benefit of your Molten Shell. And down here, this is just elemental weakness. Most of the time you don't need to use this, only when you're running into bosses or something that's really tanky for whatever reason. And then I just prefer to have a cursed ground support on this, so it drops on the ground. That's kind of up to you if you don't want to put that in there, but I would recommend it. Up here we do have some of our auras. You can just throw these in wherever. It doesn't have to be specific to these items. Frost Blink here, Link to Nothing, and then Herald of Ash. Over here, this is where I have Shield Charge, supported with faster attacks and momentum. Shield Charge there. And then down here we do have our Arcane Surge. I'm not using this, I'm just leveling it because in the in-game with the Mageblood, I will be swapping to that. If I get that online, I'll explain why. But it comes with an annoying issue where you have to use some tech with Convocation, and then it spams this annoying sound skill that you can't turn off if you play with in-game volume on. Anyway, that's besides the point. Herald of Purity down here, and then you do have another Aura Hatred. That's it for this. Check the Mobalytics, they'll also have these in there. And again, if you want to change this up, if you're familiar enough with POE 1, there is some flexibility in here. The important one is to keep your Hatreds and keep your Heralds here. And then Discipline 2 when you're on the in-game setup, because you are using a Watcher's Eye here that has the energy shield per enemy hit. That really helps out a lot. You'll want to have Discipline on there too. One thing I did want to do is, right now is the higher budget version with this helm. So we're going to go ahead and take this off here, and I just have an Honor Helm here with one of the corruptions. You can see the +2 level of socketed fire gems. And we'll go ahead and run it with this, just so you can get an idea of what it looks like on the more of a budget, because that is really the most expensive piece and really the only expensive piece on the build. So you can see, yeah, in 16.5s, it's going to be fine for you. If you're trying to do like pinnacle bosses, uber bosses, then yeah, you're going to run into problems until you get the helm there. But for just clearing maps like these, it's fine. Oh, here we go. Here's the breach. Oh, god damn it, it's one of these. I suppose I should run this. I don't really feel like full clearing these hives. Kind of over it at this point already.
Let's get it done. Cover me.
I can't remember if I opened up. There's the map mod, so we do have 149% more monster life. I'll see if we can do this without clicking on any of these things. And again, we still have the honor helm in here instead of the other helm. The nice thing about this is you can kind of just sit in the center here, and I mean, Tornado's going to automatically target all the monsters running in at you by itself. And until things get super crazy, there's really not a whole lot you even have to do. I would not say this is the best build for this, but it's fine. Go ahead and drop elemental weakness on the ground here for these last few waves. Yeah, there you go. Gotta pull up the overlay here for this part. This isn't really an issue usually, it's just annoying. Cool the first few times you do this, but then after that it's kind of this feels like a waste of time. For that, we get one ancient wound gift. Oh boy. Okay, and I did want to include this here. This is just a recording of my first Maven Kill on the build as my league starter. This is before I switched to the endgame helm, and before I went Chaos Inoculation. And I figured I might as well take the opportunity just to explain the Maven fight, kind of commentate on this, in case you're playing this build, you know what to do. First phase is pretty easy. Just avoid the balls, throw your tornadoes. They're going to auto-target her. Watch out for those homing degens she's going to leave on the ground. Blink out of them when you can. Once you get her down here, you're going to want to run to the outside here so you don't get killed by that explosion mill. Run back in because the platform is going to disappear. Avoid those beams that are going to go around the area here. She's going to spawn a bunch of random bosses here. Just cast your tornadoes, cast your elemental weakness there on the ground. It should take them down pretty quickly. And then we have everybody's favorite part here, memory game. Kind of just stand here, watch what she does. So right, up, left, right, up, left. You can even hear in the video there, I didn't realize I was recording my voice there, but I called it out just to tell myself what it was. And then it just repeats from there, getting a little bit harder. So again, just avoid the degens, avoid those beams, but luckily you can just cast your tornadoes and they're going to home in on her. That does make this a little bit easier than some other skills like melee skills and such. Go back to the outside and then go back in. And then we have another round of killing the bosses she spawns. You actually don't want to do what I just did there and shield charge through that. You want to blink if you can remember, because if you hit those beams, you can see my health is going down and not back up. Those beams are going to remove your regeneration. And she hits pretty hard, but we survive. And memory game number 2. So top, left, right, top, left, right. Pretty easy one. And again, here come the degens on the ground, so we kind of want to back away from her, drop those, and just drop your tornadoes. Avoid the beams. And get hit by that. And then one last time you'll run to the outside here. And then back in. And then this is always the hardest part of the fight for me, is the final phase here. Unless you're on hardcore, it's not going to be a big deal. I would just, I usually, when I'm doing this, even on my geared characters in Uber, have to take a portal or two. It becomes hard to avoid the beams, and she does this giant fireball that will kill you. And then I always struggle with this because the memory game happens now at the same time as everything else. Luckily on this one, if I remember right, I got a super easy just up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and that was it. So I didn't take a portal on this one. But normally I die here, and so I wouldn't worry too much about it if you do too. Again, we're just going to try our best to avoid everything, but I am not the best player. Luckily, the tornadoes are going to auto-target her, making it easier. Here comes Fireball. At least I blinked out of that. But I hit the beam there, so now my regen is disabled, and I have to be careful to not get hit by too many other things. Alright, I think she's just about down here. And that was the Maven Kill. Again, that was with Honor Helm, without the endgame helm, and before going CI. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed that build guide for my Elemental Tornado Elementalist. I've had a lot of fun putting this build together, and it's been great doing it as a league starter this time around. I had fun putting the video here and the guide together as well, but it has taken me the last couple days, especially writing that Mobalytics guide. Took me a decent chunk of time, so I'm looking forward to getting back into the game. Hopefully I have a Mage Blood drop for me. If not, I am back to the Simulacrum, and hopefully I can get enough currency in there to pick up that Mage Blood and continue on to the next iteration of the build. When I do, I'll post a short update video, and I will also update the Mobalytics guide with the Mage Blood version. I do know that it's going to be very strong, as I had it last league. We had mercenaries last league, but this league we have the ring, so I'm expecting it to be just as strong and be uber's capable, and probably even take it down to depth 600 or so in the mines. I know a bunch of you guys are probably, if you're subscribed to this channel, you're here for the PoE 2 content, but you can at least watch this video, kind of check out what's been going on in PoE 1, kind of see the cool buildcraft that's going on. I have my own issues with PoE 1. I do like PoE 2 overall better, but it is pretty fun, and it's nice when you're able to enjoy both games. So that is it for this one. I'll get back to the grind. If you do like this, you can subscribe to the channel, but again, I'm not a YouTuber, so I don't particularly care all that much. But if you want to see more PoE content, feel free to do that. Alright, so hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you later.